Good morning, CUT. So, just working with this idea of vision and hearing the words that were ministered to us through song and being able to identify the specific steps, right? They said, write the vision, see the vision, believe the vision, and then work the vision. Is there anyone who has something in your soul that is just begging to come forth? There is a desire, there is a dream, there is a goal, there is a vision, and that vision came to you because you are infinitely equipped to bring forth into manifestation that vision. The question that is before us today is, what have you been called to create? What have you been called to create? Everybody has this seed, this urge. See, as we work through this series, this guidelines for a master series, mastery is first an inside thing, but mastery should never remain solely as an inside thing. Mastery is intended not so that we might be selfish with what we have attained, but so that we might be able to then make an impression upon the world and give clear evidence to the truth that with God, all things are possible. Somebody is looking at you. They saw you just 6-8 months ago walk into this place kind of however you were working, like you had something going on inside of you, but then they see you today and you're standing tall and erect. They can see the master at work. There's somebody who is in this room who just a year or 2 years ago walked in with busted shoes and busted clothes, toe up from the floor up, but now when you show up just 2 short years later, folks can look at you and they can see that you have started to master some of the skills that have been shared with you. And even if the people in this room don't know, there are some people who are in your home who know that you're working something. You have been working the mastery because you ain't as mean as you used to be. They know that you have gotten a hold of something and something has gotten a hold of you. Mastery is the ability that each of us has to recognize the truth about what we are capable of and then begin to work out into expression that which is in our souls. And so I'm excited today because today we pick up an important piece. But before we get to this piece, I want to just do a check back on you because on last week I gave you some homework. How many of you, let me see your hands if you got the homework assignment from last week. Let me see your hand if you were here last week. All right, so I saw some hands go up of folk who were here, but you're trying to make me believe you didn't get the assignment. The assignment was for us to, right? So some of you were in class and you took good notes and you've been working your affirmative prayer process, right? Now, those of you who were in class and you didn't complete your homework, give yourself an F and a sad face. Because just like in school, the homework is not for the teacher. The homework is to help you to get the proficiency of the subject that you have been taught. So when life crashes into your happiness, Don't come calling me. Use the stuff that I told you to use. Are you with me? And so the assignment from last week was for us to begin working through the steps of affirmative prayer. Those steps were, now here is the test. Relaxation, concentration, meditation, realization, thanksgiving. Very good. Those of you who had those answers, give yourself a smiley face and a star. Those of you who worked that process all week long, you give yourself 100 and the smiling face and a star. Because what you will see now is that the affirmative prayer process serves as a support and gives you some stability as you now begin to work the creative process. See, understand that when you are getting these guidelines, it's a lot like the laws that exist in arithmetic. See, it does the teacher no good to give you algebra if you have not mastered addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So everything that you have been given in this series up to this point has been in support of your ability now to then take the ideas that God gives you. See, when you pray thinking that you have a need, God doesn't necessarily answer your need with the thing. God answers with an idea. And it does you little good to have an idea and not know how to make the idea manifest. There are millionaires sitting all over this room, but they are not working the ideas that have been given to them. You might be sitting next to one. And then there are millionaires sitting here who have worked the ideas that have been given to them. And so they can confirm that it is so. You ready? And so we begin now at the Genesis creation story. And the allegory of the creation story found in Genesis 1 indicates to us that there is a creative process. And the creative process begins first in consciousness. Say first. In consciousness. And this process includes a balance of both the thinking and the feeling nature. Are you still with me? But the creative process, as you work with the ideas, this process takes place entirely in your mind. This is a process that is taking place in your mind before anything shows up in your life. It has worked out through the process in your mind or in your soul. Does that make sense? And so we see from the Genesis narrative, this allegory, we see that God has worked this process. I love that God is a master strategist. God does not do anything haphazardly. God is really specific and intentional about what God desires to bring forth. And if God is specific and intentional in the process, and God does not have the clutter and distraction that you and I have, then how much more specific and intentional do we need to be? So then, the key to the operations of the mind as they have been set up is presented throughout this 6 days of creation. Who's familiar with the creation story? All right. I had my hand down. You worried me. I didn't hear anything. I had my hand down. I thought it was like we don't know, but I know you know. I know this is the right room. I know I'm talking to the right people. So this 6 day or this 6-step process is a process that you and I can work through to bring an idea from its point of entering the mind into the place of manifestation. Right? It is the same process that God used. It is the same process that God used. And we say on the bulletin that it begins with what? The power of the spoken word. The power of the spoken word. We see in the Genesis narrative, we find God saying, let us. Is that right? And so it's important then that we understand that as within, so without, there is first the involution and then there must be the evolution. One of the greatest creative capacities and agents that we have is the power of the spoken word. But I'm concerned that we don't believe that that's so. I'm concerned that we don't believe that there is power in the way that we speak. I'm concerned that we are not yet convinced that our words have life and that the life that is in the consciousness that is behind the word has the ability to shape substance and form and bring into our lives based upon what we have been saying. We must strategically and intentionally use our words. So there is power in the spoken word. It's important to realize that the power is not in the word alone, but in the intention and the thought and the feeling behind the word. See, the power is not simply in what you say, but the power is in the way that you think and the way that you feel and the way that you believe about what you're saying. See, we say a lot of stuff, and some of the stuff that we say, we have not given over to our God self first. And so the things that we say haven't been informed by God. They're just some rantings of the discomfort that we feel in a given moment. I wonder what would happen if you started to say to the thing that wasn't working, if you started to praise the thing that wasn't working. I wonder what would happen if you started to speak life into a body that was showing you some difficulty. I wonder what would happen if with you and your significant other, whoever they are, if you would praise them instead of putting them down. I wonder how much that relationship would start to blossom and bloom. There was a study done not long ago, and they said that in the early stages of a relationship, you can just about tell whether or not the relationship will continue on based upon the ratio by which the couples praise one another compared to how they put one another down. So out of 100 communications, if 5 of those communications were a put down and the other 95 were either a lift up or just marginal, those people had a pretty good chance of succeeding. But if just by 10, if 5 more put downs were put out in the relationship, 95% of those relationships didn't succeed. There is power in your spoken word. See, people can't be around you because you don't speak life to them. Not just people, the things that you desire can't come to you because you're not speaking life to them. When I don't speak life, the things that I desire don't come to me. See, everything in creation wants to be loved. Everything in creation wants to be loved. And it wants to know that I love it. So it's important that we realize that the power is not in the word alone, but in the intention, the thought, and the feeling behind the word. Words are vehicles, and every word is threefold in power. First, the power of the word is the idea back of the word. What am I saying? I'm saying for every word that gives life, there is the power of God invested in that word. The second is the power that has been put to the word based upon how we use it. And then last is the intelligence of the feeling given to it by the speaker. But the word is the symbol of the idea. See, the word, we find out in John, was with God. And the word was God. And this word was in the beginning with God. So when we speak the word, not just the biblical word, but when we speak the word, we are speaking with the power of that which was in the beginning of all of creation. I think you missed that. I think you missed that. When you speak the word, you're speaking with the same power that was in the beginning of all creation. So the things that we are experiencing in our life, world, and affairs, we are experiencing them because we are using our God power through our spoken word to speak life into those things. So when I withdraw my life or when I stop talking about them, then they can't help but move out of my experience. This is why it makes no sense to talk about other people's business, because their business can't change your situation, condition, or circumstances. Your words are not impacting their experience. Your words are impacting your experience. Because the word is the symbol of my consciousness, right? It says, point number A says, the word is the symbol of the idea in consciousness, but it's the symbol of the idea in my consciousness. So it doesn't matter what I think about you. It doesn't matter what I say about you, because those things are only the reflection of my consciousness. We still together? Let's take points 1 and 2 together. It says the word is a symbol of an idea in consciousness. B says a tool for shaping our world. Number 2 says word refers to God in action in his creative capacity. B, the creative power of God. All right. So then, if the word is a tool for shaping our world, we have to realize that every word that we speak gives life and shape to the things that we encounter in our life, world, and affairs. There is no such thing as a wasted word. As a matter of fact, Scripture tells us that our words have the power to accomplish wherever we send them to. And so if my words go and get the things that I send them to do, I should make sure that my words are going to get the things that I want, right? If at this moment the money substance isn't showing up in my life, world, and affairs, I should speak words that say to the ether, bring me the riches that I know I deserve. If there is power in my word. Now, if there is no power in my word, then it doesn't matter what I say. But Lawrence, if there is power in my word, then I should use my words in a way that help me to get to where it is I desire to go. There is power in the spoken word. There is power in the word. The word is shaping my world. But the word also refers to God in action in his creative capacity. When we talk about the creative process and the creative capacity, understand that your word is like an ambassador. And when you speak the word, you do so with the power of the originator of the word. Like you may have, when you were younger, said to your brother or sister, you may have said that you wanted them to do something they didn't want to do, and you may have said, mama said or daddy said. Because when you say that mama said or daddy said, now it's not just you saying, now you're speaking with the authority of mama or daddy. And when you say, mama said wash the dishes, it carries more weight, right? Or when mama said, daddy's gonna get you when he comes home, it carries more weight, right? We have to understand the creative capacity that we carry when we speak the word. See, when we speak the word, we carry with it all the authority of the God self. So then, it's not just me talking. See, there's a difference between me talking and there's a difference between God talking. Because when God talks, stuff moves. What the Genesis narrative tells us is that when one understands who they are and what they are capable of, they can speak into nothingness and bring forth something. But you have to know who you are and whose you are. See, you can't play around with the power because the power will use you if you don't know how to use it. So you have to be able to speak with authority to the things that appear because they don't move unless you have the power to move them. And so God says, let there be, and then the God presence begins to move on the God presence. Get this. When God says, let there be, God is only moving on God. See, God is not trying to get something outside of itself to move on something that's external to itself. God is only calling on God to bring forth God in a particular way. No, see, you missed it. You know why you missed it, don't you? You missed it because you think I'm talking about God. You missed it because you think I'm talking about God. See, you don't realize that I'm saying that God called upon God, and when God called upon that which God was already one with, see, when you call on yourself, you have to respond. When you go to the ATM and you punch in your code on your money that you have in your account, the ATM has to respond, provided you have ensured that the substance is there. Provided you have ensured that the substance is there. Now watch this. When it comes to God, the substance is always there. When it comes to God, there is no lack of the energy in the invisible energy intelligence that you can shape with your mind to bring what you desire into manifestation. But what we have to do then is speak with the God-given authority and stop speaking small-minded, insignificant words into a powerful and creative universe. See, if you speak in small terms, then small things will show up. If you speak as though you don't know who you are, then you will get something that's designed for somebody who is not clear about what they deserve. And so you desire love, but you don't want somebody who loves you like you deserve to be loved because you won't love you like God loves you. And so, somebody can come up and talk sweet and slick. And you only hear those words because you have not been telling yourself what you want to hear, right? When you look in the mirror, you got to tell that God presence that you see, man, honey, you sure do have it going on today. Look at you, I see you, I see that flicker in your eye. How can they resist you when you show up? You look so good. You gotta be willing to word yourself up. You gotta God yourself up.
See, Rebecca, you don't wait for somebody else to guard you up. You have to guard yourself up. You have to remind you about the God presence that is within you. Don't wait for somebody to remind you. You tell yourself, and you give yourself the authority to be what you are. See, we sometimes believe that somebody has to give us something, but nobody can give you what you already are. They can't make you great. They can't make you approved. They can't validate you. How can they validate that which was established in the beginning? It's your work that validates you. It's your sense of who you are that validates you. You got to speak with authority to that. It's a creative process that God used. But God was talking to God's self because God wanted to see something move. And so then God moved on God. The only thing that's there is God and everything that God is capable of. That's what's in the beginning, God and everything that God is capable of. And so what do you think you are capable of? Because the limit that you put on that will be the same limit that you apply to this creative process. Are you with me? And so then the first step is the step of light. And God said, let there be light. Let there be light. Light, we see, is intelligence, illumination, wisdom, and understanding. So these are all aspects of the light. Intelligence, illumination, wisdom, and understanding. These are all aspects of the light. So now, when we say, let there be light, we're saying, let our minds be opened so that we can see clearly through the wisdom and the understanding that shines brightly upon the thing that we desire to make manifest. See, the idea already has everything that is needed in order to make you happy and bring joy into your life. The idea is the pure impulse that God gives you, and so it's the idea that you have to work. If you need anything, you have to work the idea. Say, work the idea. Work the idea. When we're talking about intelligence and illumination and wisdom and understanding, it's important to remember that wisdom is the intuitive knowing. Say intuitive knowing. Wisdom is the voice of God within, and it is the source of our understanding. When we talk about understanding, I love the Emmett Fox quote where he says, there is no such thing as undemonstrated understanding. And so if there is no understanding, good people, there is no light. And if there is no light, then we are in the darkness. And whenever you walk into a room that has darkness, if you desire to see more clearly, what do? You flip the switch. It's that simple. In your soul consciousness, you must flip the switch. You must change the limit by which you are allowing the light to flow. See, the power is always there. The power is always there. It's up for you and I to determine whether or not we will turn the light on and transform the darkness into light. But the power is always there. Never think for a moment that you are powerless to manifest the light. The light is always there. Will you be it? The light is always there. Will you allow it to be put forth? The light is always there. We hear a lot about the darkness. We read a lot about the darkness. But who is going to commit to being the light. And watch this. It doesn't take a lot of people to be the light. All it takes is one who is vibrating at about a 30 wattage rate who can light up a single room. Just one. It doesn't take a whole community of people to be the light. As a matter of fact, the number of folks in a room like this, the wattage of which could light up a whole city if the people in that room absolutely committed themselves to being the light. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Let's go to step 2. So step 1 is let there be light. Step 2 is let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. Now, this second step, or this second day that God used, is really insightful to us. Because anytime you intend to bring a thing from the unmanifest into the manifest, there is this piece that must be present. And that piece we call faith. The firmament, we say, is faith, the perceiving power, the knowing quality. Is that right? But faith is sometimes underdeveloped as a power. Mm-hmm. When Peter was with Jesus and he saw Jesus doing this amazing thing, Peter looked at what Jesus was doing, and there was something in Peter that said, I believe I can do that too. This sense of faith in him, this power in him, led him to believe that he could do what he saw the Christ doing. And so Peter said to himself, I believe I can walk on water. But Peter didn't leave it right there. Peter consulted Jesus a little bit, and Jesus said to Peter, the water is pretty cool. Come on, dip your toe and give it a little try. That's the DBW translation. That's not actually how it reads in the book. But then Peter, who represents faith, was able to do what was seemingly impossible. Peter was able to walk and take a couple steps in an environment and on a substance and on a surface that it didn't seem like ordinary people ought to be able to walk on. I'm trying to say something to you. Because the thing that you desire to bring forth, the thing that God has placed in your soul, there might not be anybody else around you who has ever even thought about giving birth to this thing that you see that needs to come forth. You might not know anybody. You might not have a track record. There might not be a trailblazer who can help you see how to make and take the steps. But I'm telling you that faith in you that is connected to the Christ can do the seemingly impossible. But you must have faith, and you must believe, and you must keep your eyes on the prize. Whenever we start to do something that seems a little difficult, there are going to be some wins. There's going to be some turmoil. There are going to be some folks who straight up hate on you and everything that you do. There are going to be some people who are not pulling for you. There are going to be some win in some ways. There are going to be some doubt in your own soul. There are going to be some questions where you ask yourself, should I just give up? Should I just let it go? Is it over? Have I been doing it too long? Do I need to just do something else? It's not always going to be easy. And when you take a step, sometimes you're going to feel yourself start to sink a little bit lower. And you're going to say to yourself, I've been in class and I've been at church and that stuff don't seem like it's working. But what I really want to encourage you to do is grab hold to your faith. Because you are going to need the faith to look beyond the stuff that's showing up. See, if it were easy, anybody would be doing it. but you have the power of faith and you understand how to use the faith because you're going to need it as you walk this road that you find yourself on. And so then faith gives us the ability to see beyond what's showing up and to make firm in our soul the thing that we desire. You cannot create the idea from the invisible to the visible without having faith in the innate power that is within you. There's going to be doubt. There's going to be skepticism. There's going to be distrust. There's going to be suspicion. You're going to have your own. But you got to put your faith to work. We say that faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith is your spiritual ability to perceive and hear the conviction of the idea. Remember that the idea has everything within it to become manifest. Remember that you as God are calling on yourself to bring forth out of yourself the thing that you desire. You can only bring from you that which is within you. And if the idea comes to you, it's because you have what it takes to make it manifest. But you can't quit, you can't lay down, you can't stop, and you can't give up. Not if you intend to do something great and to make an impact. This second step is the faith step. It's the faith step. It's the faith step. And let me drop this on you. You have to work your faith from a spiritual perspective. You have to work your faith from a spiritual perspective. Faith is more than idle wishing. Faith is more than wishing that things would turn around. As a matter of fact, the spiritually mature know to avoid the anxiety when they don't see the thing showing up just yet. But you have to be spiritually mature to see it, and remember that if you can see it in your mind's eye, it can come into manifestation. It doesn't matter what the thing is. What matters is how you apply your faith to bring it into manifestation. Faith is not something you have or don't have. And no one has more faith than you do. You are a master. And nobody ever said that mastery is easy. As a master, you have to be willing to work the water. So Peter walked on the water. And as Peter was walking on the water, he started to sink. And with each step, he got more afraid. And with each moment that he sank, it seemed like his dream was at greater and greater peril. But there's something interesting about the water. The water holds in it the potential and the elements to shape one thing. I love water because water could be one thing at one degree and another thing at another degree. See, I love this idea of water because at a lower degree it can be a solid, but then at a higher degree it can be steamed. I love how it depends upon the consciousness of the space and the environment that will determine what happens with the water. It's the same thing with your potential. Mm-hmm. At a low level, at a near freezing level, the great potential that's within you can be frozen right where you sit. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because if your mind is frozen, then so must your dream be frozen. If your mind is fixed, then so must your vision be fixed. But when you come up, and it doesn't take a whole lot, just a single degree of difference. Just a single degree of difference. You don't have to become a master overnight. All you have to do is grow by degrees. So when you go from 32 to 33, you start to have more movement in your potential. And as your potential starts to move, you start to be able to flow a little more freely. So you got to know how to flow with it. You have to know how to flow with the divine flow. And see, when you know how to flow with the divine flow, you find yourself moving, ebbing and flowing, rising and riding the wave, because the wave didn't come to take you over, it came to help you surf. But you got to know how to ride the wave. And see, you don't ride the wave at 32 degrees, you only ride the waves once it starts to get a little warmer. And so you have to be willing to let your soul heat up the potential that is within you and ride the wave. See, if you know how to maneuver on the wave, even when the wave comes, you can duck and get back up and jump on your board and just keep going. You don't let it take you under. The doubt, the criticism, the nonsense, you just duck and ride the wave. You don't let it take you under. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh no, the diagnosis comes, you just have to kick it up, ride back down and just keep on going. But you don't let it take you under. Yeah. And then the more you grow, the more you heat up, the more your consciousness expands, you find yourself at somewhere around 200 degrees. And now, when you on fire, and what was water is now steam, and the steam turns into substance. I'm trying to take you somewhere. The steam turns into substance, but it only happened because you set the space and the stage by which the temperature could change a solid into a liquid and then into a non-essential substance. Everything that you need, baby, you got it. You just have to know how to work the process and not let the process work you. So when you leave here today, know that your first step is to know how to use your word. Use your words that give life to the things that you desire. Speak life over your life. I know it might look a certain way. Speak life to it. I am God in expression. Speak life. I am prospered and I am abundantly supplied. Speak life. Everybody loves me and I love everybody. Speak life. I have what I need when I need it. Speak life. Health is my birthright. Speak life. I'm going to get mine today. Speak life. Speak life. First, speak life. Speak life. Be sure to speak life. Even with the people you have difficulty with, speak life. I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you. Speak, listen, bless them right where they are. They don't have to come in your space. Bless them right where they are. Speak words of life to them in whatever they're working through. Remember that what they're working through is not really about you, it's really about them. So help them as you speak life with them. And then understand that you must let the light shine in your dark place. All of us have dark places. Let the light shine in your dark place. Because sometimes when the lights come on, the stuff that's not supposed to be out in the open will scatter. And when it scatters, you got to go ahead and put the stuff down that encourages it to not come back. I can't think of the tune. I can't think of the tune. I think she said something like, you've abandoned me. Love don't live here anymore. Yeah, you gotta. If there is no space for it, it can't live there anymore. Let wisdom and understanding flood into your life, world, and affairs. Let wisdom and understanding flood your consciousness. Let the light of life and God's life in you flood your consciousness. Don't study the dark space. Don't trip on the dark space either, because remember, the seed grows in the dark place. You need your dark place. You need your dark space. Some of us run out of the dark space before we even know how to handle the light. and you find yourself going back through the dark space again because you got to get your lesson and your blessing. And then that second step is the faith step. It's the faith step. It's the faith step. Faith without works is dead. Faith without works is dead. And so you just ride the wave, because some of it's going to be good, some of it's going to be very good. But if you know how to ride the wave, you'll remember that it all works together for your good. Be a master. God bless you.